Resident Evil Zero is a survival horror game that's a prequel to Resident Evil, where it follows and stars officer Rebecca Chambers, who's after Billy Cohen after something that he's on the run for. They work together when surrounded by zombies and explore the mystery of where it all comes from. Before I get to this review, leave a follow for more content. Out of all the Resident Evil games that are the main series, this is one of the more divisive efforts that tries something completely different, which the fan base is mixed on. It made some creative choices that make it intentionally difficult and harder than the first game that started it all. For me, the result of these creative choices has some highs and some lows. The graphics look better than in the first game, with smoother character movement and more textures, and the cutscenes look solid as well. There are some moments in the cutscenes that look dated, but nothing that took me out of it that much. The gameplay is still one of the highlights, and I appreciate creating a partner mechanic that not only has decent AI, but also feels refreshing, leading to interesting pathways and puzzles. The game got the location down with such interesting designs to explore that I was curious about where each room takes me that's different. The story isn't too bad, which gives some interesting background to Wesker and William Birkin while showing how it all started. Granted, the lore of the game probably could have been email, but I appreciate the attempt here. The fixed camera is better here than in the first game, where it's not nearly as annoying to deal with, which gave so much space for the characters to go where they need to go while also not go too crazy on the camera frame. The bosses were fun, although the Bat boss was incredibly annoying as it just flew really fast all over the place. Now, when it comes to the changes, I like the partner mechanic, but the others, less so. I don't mind the concept of not having loot boxes that you have to drop items if you're too full, but the limited inventory space has made it very tedious to deal with considering the amount of backtracking. You have the same amount of spaces as Chris Redfield in Resident Evil, and the amount of backtracking makes the first game feel like a cakewalk. It's generally annoying when you have to go back to the one place, which would take you minutes, grab the stuff that you need, and go back to where you were. It happens more often than you think. Raising the difficulty is one thing, repetition is another. Grabbing the items can also be a pain in the ass because the controls are surprisingly worse than the first game. It feels like you have to be almost precise about where you need to grab the item, and half the time, you have to move again. It's incredibly slippery that the first game was better at keeping it mostly tight. The voice acting and some of the dialogue are even clunkier than the first game, which just sounds bad to the point of being unintentionally funny. I could have used more of the character development for Rebecca Chambers, but I'm glad that Billy Cohen has enough characterization. Resident Evil Zero is an alright game that I still had enough fun with, regardless of the amount of frustrations I had with it. I give this game a 6 out of 10. If you like this review, leave a like, favorite, and follow for more review content.